Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I want to say before I dive into it though, go and download OneFootball right now in the link in the description below. OneFootball is absolutely awesome. It's of course the home of Euro 2020 content as well. So if you want to keep up to date with all the big news from across Euro 2020 and not just Euro 2020 and Manchester City as well. So if you want to keep up to date with the transfer rumours like Grealish and Kane and all that kind of stuff, and of course help support my channel a little bit too, well go and click the link in the description right now and join over 10 million people in adding OneFootball to their phone. I promise you it's an absolutely fantastic app with all the information and all the stats about not just England, Manchester City as well. So help support my channel a little bit and nourish your phone. Download OneFootball right now in the link in the description below. You will not regret it, I promise you. Enjoy the video.
Hello people, welcome back to another episode of The Fan View, and this one's not about Man City, it's actually about England. I've got a wonderful guest alongside me. You probably know who he is if you watch any YouTube videos basically on the internet about football. Mr. James Lawrence Allcott. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm very well. I'm really well. Life's great.
Essentially, context here is needed. James was at the England game last night, and he's in the thumbnail for a reason because that energy. I've seen a clip of him jumping up and down the the aisles at Wembley and loving it. How was it last night at the game? Because it very much golden ticket territory. I mean, being at the Wembley last night, given everything that we've gone through in the context of the past year and a half, is very much relevant to this. Did it feel extra special given everything and given the fact that it was a special game anyway?
Oh, I mean, as soon as it was Germany, it was something that obviously I was desperate to be at, and so I was very fortunate to be able to get myself a ticket, and it massively delivered. I think it will be unlike any game I will ever go to ever again because of how long we've all waited for exactly that feeling. Do you know what I mean? Of normal life, of going to a game, of being able to scream, of being able to grab someone, of all those things that we're all been just desperate to do. Football's such a release for people. So it was sort of double-edged sword. It's probably the wrong phrase, but it was like there was so many layers to it because there was that element of it, and then it's Wembley, and then it's the Euros, and then it's Germany, and it was glorious, mate. It was really good. I loved it.
I just want to check quickly. Does my mic sound better now? Apparently, it sounded terrible.
Oh, it sounds it sounds much better now. Much better.
I had it coming through the earphones. So that was the amateur hour here on my channel. But mate, it looks fantastic. Like I got goosebumps just looking on the TV, and I was in this really weird situation where I had the door open in my flat there, so I was watching it on TV, and there's like a pub around the corner, which you could tell they're operating like a 30-second delay thing. So we'd be all like celebrating and all that kind of stuff, and then 30 seconds later, you get another round of celebrations going on as you hear hundreds of people scream, man. But that kind of stuff matters, doesn't it? It matters to the players as well, not just the fans. And obviously, you look like you're enjoying yourself an awful lot. And I would advise, by the way, everyone to go and watch James's videos as well on his own channel. There'll be a link below as well, because it's emotion, man. It means something, doesn't it? It means something to yourself, and it means something to the players as well. And I'm not sure if you saw the clip as well after the game of Harry Kane just stood there taking in the atmosphere afterwards. I mean, how do you think the players are feeling today? I know we're not literally players, but I mean, you must be buzzing, surely. They must be.
Yeah, I really hope so, because I think footballers, as you know, and as a Man City fan, I think there is such expectation, and so often it's a case of not letting anyone down, which is a really suffocating place to kind of live in, I think, and something that I try to frame around in my football fandom. And I think we're going to get on to talk, the differences between a fan of a top six club and a fan of a QPR, for example, or any other kind of team that's not expected to win everything every single time. But with England and those England players, I think they had that constant scrutiny during the league season, and then they kind of go to England, and I've been to the Euro 2016, I've been to games in 2018, and there is a different expectation with England, and it is I don't think it's always energizing, and I think Raheem Sterling, for example, the fact that I wouldn't have blamed him if at some point he would have gone, I don't need this. And I think we've had teams and players that have felt like, I don't need this. Like I did an interview with Ben Foster a little while ago, and he was saying that feeling with England wasn't that enjoyable. So for these players, I really hope they they enjoy it. I think you're right. When you see that clip from Harry Kane, that romanticism is something to hang on to. And fortunately, he has hung on to it. And so when he's looking around, this is exactly what when he's 6'7", what he was dreaming of was scoring goals at Wembley and people, people were putting smiles on people's faces. And it was amazing, mate. When the goals went in, and it was nothing better than
goosebumps. Literally,
but that's what I was like.
Thinking about being a kid again, and that's the point, isn't it? That is the point.
That is the point.
My mum, do you know what? This is a little anecdote. My mum, during the pandemic, she was made redundant. She worked at Brown as a manager, and she was made redundant. And she thought, fuck it. After 20 years of retail stress, she went to work in a primary school as a play teacher. So her job is essentially just having fun with kids every morning. Yeah. And she said, she rang me yesterday coming home from work, and this is not really relevant to anything, but I think it's important to the broader thing. She said, do you know what I did today in my class, right? I put on Vindaloo, because she put Vindaloo on dead loud, and she had England flags and they're all waving. And he said, I did it because remember when we were younger, we used to dance around the garden doing that. And I was like, yes, I do actually. And she was like, and she was always saying, wasn't it a lot less cynical then? I was like, yeah, it fucking was actually. Like when you're a kid, obviously it feels an awful lot better. And like, that's important, it does matter. And I feel like obviously England's been it's been really weird to be an England fan, I would guess, over the past 10 years, because the country's changed quite a lot and all that kind of stuff. And it's been easy to get disconnected from it. But I guess what I'm trying to frame now is, does this group of players maybe not deserve that anymore? Because it feels different, doesn't it? It does genuinely feel different to me now, this England team, and the vibe around it. They're all young, intelligent players as well. And I don't mean just as footballers, I mean as people. Yeah. We've seen what Sterling and Rashford have done off the pitch, and they seem eminently likeable as well as people. And like, I'm not saying they were all unlikable, but there was definitely a perception that came with the old England team, and maybe it wasn't always fair, but it definitely was there in the back of in the background. And does it? I guess, does this team deserve the country to get behind now, given everything they've done, and given once again Southgate's handled it with dignity, everything that's been through the past couple of years as well?
I think you know what I think. I think the team before were exactly the same kind of people. I think they were just badly advised. And I think what they did was, instead of, when there's the tabloids, there's the internet, but not to the extent where you've got a generation of people that from 12 onwards have been used to social media. I think the guideline was, don't say anything and then they can't catch you out, which on the top line feels like a logical way of dealing with things. And so that's what you saw a lot, right? But actually the answer was, and Southgate figured this out before the 2018 World Cup. Because if you think of how people felt about it after 2016, people hated international football. They hated England, and understandably so, because there was no connection with them. Go even further back, I'm a bit older, so I can remember it. But like Euro 96 and Euro and World Cup 98, they still felt like people that we could kind of connect with. What's happened now with this generation, what Southgate has done, and then individually, like you say, these are smart lads who want to build their brand, because that's the way football is now, is that they've done the opposite. Instead of saying nothing, they're saying loads, and they're saying it on their own terms, but they're also having a bit of fun with chunks and Philly, or they're doing like those different bits and pieces, which makes them human. They're human people all of a sudden. And then it breaks down the barriers so that the press can go, if they start to go at Raheem Sterling, there's a load of people now and also we've all got voices as well. We can go, hang on a minute, that's completely unfair. You can't speak that way. So we're looking at these people, Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips. We know a bit about their story. We've heard them speak, and they're human beings. And so we can give them that benefit of the doubt a little bit more than the likes of Beckham and Scholes and those guys, because we don't know who they are. We don't know what they're like. Fair. So we couldn't really get on board with them. So I think they all deserved it, but I just think they've been much better advised. The world's moved on a little bit, and I'm delighted. Like, going back to what you said initially, do they deserve it? They massively deserve it, and I really hope they enjoy it, because there is nothing better than this feeling. Like when you have one and you're still in it, and we could go all the way. You've won those. You've won the league, and you've yearned for those things and got them, right?
Yeah.
Winning it is great. Okay, the day is glorious, right? And the next week is great, but still not as potent as the moment. But it's actually the bit before. It's right now. It's today. It's the next week is the best bit. So that's why I get excited about it, because this is the fun bit, is when it's jeopardy and you might get what you want. So I think we should all just attempt to enjoy this as much as possible, you know?
No, I'm with you, man. There's a couple of super chats I want to bring up if you don't mind. I'm just going to chat
about
them because a couple of them. Messon, thank you so much, mate. Says I've been living in England 12 years now and never felt any connection with the England team, but this year it feels different. Something's clicking now. And to be honest, mate, yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, whatever the reason, maybe it's intangible, but I do think James is spot on when he talks about the idea that maybe these players have been given a voice, and maybe we've got a voice to defend these players as well, so they feel more like us, you know. And it could have been any of us. We could have been like when we see these young footballers and they're dragged through the streets just because they bought the parents a house or whatever, and like that could literally be any of us who were in the spotlight if we had a bit of money. And I guess now it's good that we can fight back and we can understand and essentially empathize with their situation. So I do wonder if it's that, Mason. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way, mate. Oliver as well, by the way. We're going to get to that in a bit, Oliver, but he said, "Here's to an England Denmark."
Oh God, don't.
Yeah, Oliver, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I wouldn't be against it. But stop it. Stop it. But no, I think you're right, man. I think like this team definitely does deserve it. And you're right as well about the whole the top six thing as well and enjoying the moment. But I used to following it a lot more, and I guess when City got good, so to speak, and my focus went more on Man City, and I don't know what it is, but something does change, and I don't know, success does make you focus more on your own club a little bit or something like that. I'm not sure why, but and I did feel relatively disconnected from the England team for a while, but this one they seem likable, and of course I've got the City angle, so it'd be weird if I wasn't supporting Man City, but I don't know, man. It does feel a little bit different, and it does feel like their time. Maybe it's what the country needs as well. I know that sounds so romantic and so simple, but maybe it is what the country needs. And I saw who did he write for again? Jonathan Liu, that fantastic writer. I can't remember who he writes for, but he did a great match report, and he said in many ways actually this was the country's first big not post-COVID because it's still here, but very much, almost like the coming out party after the restrictions started to die down. And I understand entirely what he meant. And for 90 minutes last night, the world felt relatively normal again. And that stuff's important. And you can understand why, why football has this effect on us and why it's so important to so many people, because I saw your face at the game last night. I saw it in the video, and you looked top of the world, and that's what this team can do to you. Onto the actual performance. I mean, is there anything to say about the performances? I mean, it was good, but does it matter? I mean, where did you stand on the overall performance?
Do you know what? I didn't want it to get in the way of how I was feeling, but we can play better. We can definitely play better. I don't doubt that. I think that's Harry Kane's worst performance, personally. But again, who cares? He scored a goal. Raheem Sterling was, because this is where Raheem Sterling. And to answer what you were talking about, like, do they deserve it and all that stuff? It's very simple, really. It's there's a reason why people spend a lot of money on hosting a tournament or hosting the Olympics or investing money in their Olympics team, or national teams, because it brings national pride. And when it brings national pride, everyone's a bit happier and a bit lighter. And that seems ridiculous that something could do that. But, you saw it in the stadium. I can see it on your face. Like it's a real thing. So, and in terms of deserving stuff, Scotland deserve to go through as much as England. North Macedonia deserve it to. Again, as a Man City fan who's been there in Division 2, a Division 2 fan deserves success as much, if not more, than a Liverpool fan. Or do you know what I mean? So winning is everything. And coming back to the performance, winning was everything. And I think Southgate knew that. He said it himself. He said, if I don't win this game with that team playing that way, I'm dead. And he would have been in trouble. He would have been massively in trouble. I did a video today about it. And the thing that we must remember with that is that, yes, it would have been totally on it. And I would have been angry because I was like, this is pragmatic. This is conservative. But so as much as he deserves the criticism when it goes wrong, he needs to get the plaudits when it works, because it was all about the result and will continue to be about the result. Because if we play brilliant against the Ukraine, score 5 and let in 6, everyone's angry again. So the performance was good. I thought thought overall we matched them up, and we looked a lot more well drilled defensively than them. I felt we, after a really shaky 10 minutes, and I think it was like the crowd and the occasion did kind of get to us a bit. We then did settle down and move up the pitch a bit, which was great. I thought Kyle Walker was superb. I thought he was brilliant. Being able to see the whole pitch, you could see he actually had quite an interesting role where he sometimes kind of went into midfield, and Calvin Phillips dropped to right-sided centre-back to pick up the ball to give us a way out. And then in terms of helping out and being careful about Goossens and Werner, again, he was such a safety blanket for us defensively. But it was okay. We can play better, I think.
I mean, but I guess it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, that's the thing. Is like, I think Grealish said afterwards. Grealish was asked about it, and he did a wry smile. And he went, "Yes, masterclass, wasn't it?" You know, like, and I guess like at international level, you just kind of get the job done. I think it's probably fair to say this isn't a classic German side. It isn't, but still, it's Germany, and it's beating Germany in any competition at any point is worthy. You know, it's worthy of knowing. It's something to add to your CV, and it's something to add once again to the mood and the morale around the dressing room in England. Like, because that stuff does matter, and I'm a firm believer that international tournaments are built on momentum, and momentum can be caused by, you know, a whole host of reasons, whatever it is. It could be a last-minute winner. It could be something that the whole country gets behind for many reasons. It could come through adversity as well. It could come through something horrific, and I hate to sound really cheap here, and I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but, you know, you look how the Denmark squad right now, you know, they went through something horrific, and they definitely galvanised by that, and they would, of course, never choose that to happen, but I guess the point the point I'm making is that, you know, momentum's a powerful thing, really, and it can happen for any reason. But and right now, it's obviously for very different circumstances. But England have that momentum and that energy and that belief, and that is clearly something to take in to the next game. And the skill, I guess, now. The task for Southgate is to try and capitalise on that and keep it going, because all of a sudden Saturday seems like a long time away. It isn't, but it feels like a long time away, because you have to keep up that energy and you have to not let it kind of settle. Or do you? Do you need the players to calm down? Maybe, you know.
That is my concern, actually. That my concern is that it was such an. I think sometimes you see that where teams have such elation that they kind of They can over celebrate, and I don't think the England players did that, because I also think that in terms of us as fans, we were like, oh, Germany, but I think for them as players, they're like, oh, 2018, because we had a run to the final there and they failed. Yeah, and I think they look at this time and this run, they go, we're not failing. Like there's no they on themselves will naturally go, this is not happening again. So I think they will be switched on, and I think they'll be fine, and I think they'll be. I'm really excited for Saturday. I think there could be a really. I think there could be a really special performance there, because I don't rate Ukraine, to be honest. And also, you know, with Germany, I'm just looking at their team there, and a few people, and it is a natural thing to say, so I'm not digging you out, but it's so easy to, once a team has been beaten, you then go, they're rubbish. I'm looking at their team, and I think often with squads, you go, where are these players playing? And we've got Chelsea, Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Bayern Munich. This is not a bad team. Do you know what I mean?
Need to categorise. They're clearly not rubbish. I mean, I would say that generation is roughly, a lot of it's on its way down, I would say, because a lot of them are a little bit older, and in terms of pace, but still, they're maybe fantastic players, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is now, and another way of looking at it is, I think this English team are equals, you know, at least. I mean, we've proven that, and it used to be, you look at the Germans, and this is for both reasons. England have got better as well. If Germany got a bit older, England have definitely got better. But you used to look at the German side and be really scared of them, and you still get that. But there's no reason to be. There's no reason to be, because this England side is fantastic. And the depth that this England side has got as well. I don't know if we'll always play at our best, or if we'll get it right, or go how far we'll go. But there's absolutely no questioning the quality of this squad and the depth that it's got. I mean, currently we've got, and I hate saying this as a City fan, but we've got a Champions League winning captain sat on the bench. You know, and that is just. We've got possibly the best young attacking midfielder in the world, and the best young winger in the world in Sancho Foden sat on the bench, and maybe the best young box-to-box midfielder in the world sat on the bench. And I don't think it's hyperbole either. I think it's a relatively common things to say. From camera's just gone flat, just change it over to my good old laptop there coming through. But yeah, I think you know, maybe it is time to believe a little bit. How so? You don't rate Ukraine at all then, personally? I mean, obviously, famous last words. And
I think that, of course, yeah. And I'm scared. You're scared to say it on camera. Look, I also think that people will go, okay, is this how we play now for every game? And I'll be like, no, that's not the answer either.
No.
Look at all the other countries or the big countries in particular. They maybe don't have that same depth. So you've got the likes of De Bruyne getting injured and they're thinking, oh no, or Eden Hazard playing more minutes than he probably should have and then gets a hamstring. And there's all these players sort of falling down. And for us, we don't need to do that because, as you say, I look at this bench, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
It's really good. It's really good.
Because you could legitimately have a conversation with me and tell me Jadon Sancho is the best winger that we've got out of the lot. And I couldn't go, you're wrong. And he's barely played a minute. It's outrageous. So what I would say is that going into that Ukraine game, I would expect changes and I would have no problem with that at all because we have so much depth there. The Ukraine are not Germany. They've just played extra time. So I think although Southgate does lean, certainly against the better teams, lean towards being conservative, I also think he's so kind of calm in his decision-making that against teams that he goes, well, yeah, we are better than them. He'll go back. I would be amazed if he doesn't go back to a 4 and bring another attacking player because we're going to need to break down the Ukraine. I wouldn't be surprised if Rashford came in. I wouldn't be surprised if he gave Sterling a break. I honestly wouldn't be surprised by any of that stuff because he knows that he's probably got, apart from Zinchenko, I'm not sure how many of their players would get anywhere near our squad.
Zinchenko near the England squad, that'd be wonderful to say from a City fan's perspective. But no, you're right. I mean, it's someone a journal tweet this morning saying, "Is it insane to rest players in a quarter-final?" And you slightly hinted at it there. I mean, but it isn't arrogance, but is it like naivety? If you know what I mean, to suggest that, do we need to just go with it and because I mean, I totally get where you're coming from, but Sterling's just scored a absolutely huge goal and he was fantastic and all that kind of stuff. Do you just play him and go, mate, you just go out there and get the job done? And at the same time, I understand the idea of keeping him fresh, but I guess we don't really know, and I guess we have to trust Southgate. I mean, I've been critical in the past,
and I think he'll be driven.
He's earned
by
it right, hasn't he?
Stats. Yeah, he'll be driven by. I think he'll be driven by the stats that he's got to. His fitness people will say, maybe Sterling needs a little rest here. You've got such a plethora of options that it's as much as it's rest, it's rotation, I think. And I wouldn't be, if Foden plays on the left or Grealish starts on the left and you play Rashford on the right, it's not a problem, is it? It's too really. And what's good about our team as well is that there is that would kind of retain the competition for places, I think, as well. Like Trippier, the rotation already has been crazy, to be honest. We played 4 at the back for 3 games, then decided to play 3 at the back. Maguire didn't play the first 2 games. Walker got dropped for the second game. Trippier only played the first game. Like it's apart from Declan Rice and Phillips, who I think as long as, well, actually that might be in place for rotation as well because you've got 2 people maybe. That are you've got 2 players that are booked there. Maguire's booked as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if he brought in. I mean, it's somewhat dangerous maybe with Maguire but Mings has been good. Is there an amnesty
with the bookings thing? Does it just right until the end now? I don't actually know the rules.
I actually thought it got washed away once you got to the quarterfinals, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, if that is the case, that it's it's up into the semi-finals, then he might make that call. But again, just so much depth. Like I would never say we're favourites because I'm scared to say that, right? But because it is England, right? That not all the baggage is gone, but in terms of our depth, it's really, really strong. And there's no, I knew yesterday was going to be the one that if we win it, we've really got to enjoy it because from now on we're the Man City. Now it's the expectations are here, and we cannot. It is massive failure if we don't beat the Ukraine, and ultimately probably if we don't beat Denmark or the Czechs. Sadly,
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it is failure if we don't beat Ukraine, and that sounds really, really patronising, condescending to the Ukrainian side. But I mean, quite literally they would have more or less everyone that we've got in their starting 11, and that's I'm not trying to be harsh there, it's just a matter of fact. I think the Ukrainian coach would and they've got some good players, you know, and I'm sure we'll see that, and there will be some heart in mouth moments, but you know, if England want to be taken seriously, these are the games you have to win. And I think it's fair to say as well, this is a better England side in my opinion than the 2018 one, and I would say Colombia was a bigger game than the Ukrainian game, you know, so, and we got past that, and Germany's a bigger game and we got past that, you know, literally yesterday. So I think it's fair to say, I mean, let's I'm asking you, so don't worry, I'm not I'm going to say like, no, I'm asking you so you don't have to worry about the consequences of the Ukrainian game. But if we do get past there, so there's a nice caveat there, so you're not on video saying it. Although you technically are. So, but either way, Czech Republic or Denmark. Do you fear either of these sides? Do you want one of these sides in particular if you get there?
Just to say, there's a fly in my. So if you see me move my head, it's because there's a big fly in it.
That's some kind of spirit of the future.
Maybe
coming to warn you about a prediction or something like that. I don't know.
Ukrainian fly. So Czech Republic or Denmark? Look, Denmark, I think have got a lot more. I understand the kind of that narrative of it being about Eriksen, but they've got a lot of ability in that squad as well.
Oh yeah, quality.
Good steel, a lot of steel in their team as well. I worry about. I don't think I fear anyone now. I maybe fear the Italians a little bit, and Spain a little bit. Belgium, I've got a feeling, I might be wrong on this one, but without De Bruyne and Hazard, I can't really see them getting past Italy personally. But if they do, then and they've got those two fit, then that's different. But I don't worry about any teams. Sorry, I don't fear any teams, but I worry about Denmark. I'd rather play the Czech Republic than Denmark in the semi-final. Definitely, I think Denmark are actually a very talented team.
Yeah, same. Denmark are the kind of team that could do what we tried to do to Germany to us, you know, in terms of like keep it really solid defensively, really organised, and they've got like genuine quality throughout, and they've got players who are used to high quality as well. Like, you know, people laugh at people like Braithwaite, as in the Barca context, but he's still a Champions League player. You know, like, he quite literally plays for Barcelona and so on. And obviously Christensen, I hate to admit it, he's a Champions League winner, and they've just got you know, fucker, but they've got like a really good side, and like. I would fear that game would be interesting, but I mean, once you get to the semi-finals, it's already been a pretty good tournament at that point. I would say everyone's happy at that point, and I wouldn't say the pressure's off, but you know, I do think the general minimum expectation in this country was to get to the semis. Not expectation, but hope, I would say. And once you get there, after that, I don't put it. If we got past Ukraine and we lost to Denmark, I really, hand on heart, don't think everyone would crucify Southgate for it. I don't think they would now. I think he's actually won an awful lot of trust, especially if, you know, Denmark play particularly well and whatever, and they are a good side and so on. And so I think that point is the bit where, you know, everyone's kind of happy. I mean, you may disagree with that, but I think at that point the nation is relatively happy, and we're a fickle bunch, but. You know, I believe that. I reckon, you know, as long as we didn't get battered 4-0 or whatever, something like that, 4-5-0 or something. I think everyone would be all right if we played well and we felt like we'd go for it. I'm sure there'd be some fallout afterwards. But you know, I think it'd be all right. So during the other side of the draw, so who have we got? We've got Switzerland, Spain. I mean, surely the Spanish are going through there, I would say. I presume you can't see an upset, can you? You don't know. It's a good game, wasn't it?
I did ESPN this morning, and the two other guys on it. I said Spain. I think Spain will. There'll be. I think, like we were talking about, that kind of a emotional deficit that you have when you have such a big win. I think the difference between England and Switzerland is, I think Switzerland are like, what? Whereas I think that England squad, those England players were like, I kind of expect. You know, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to win. You know, they're a lot more kind of relaxed with getting through, if that makes sense. And I also think, you know, in terms of the fallout, as angry as any England fan would be, I think that England squad, I think they're okay with the pressure being on them. I think they want it, because I think that they're built, you know, they're players that play for the top teams. And I think they will be looking at this and going, there are no excuses here. Let's go, let's destroy this team. Then the next is about business now. But Switzerland, Spain, I think, I just think Spain will, I know they're a bit shaky at the back, and Switzerland could do something, but I just think Spain will score too many. More than anything else. They've scored 10 in the last two. That's all right.
But I just got so distracted by my fiance in the chat. She's there, and she's just put, Stephen, our ice cream van just turned up at my work. We're getting married soon, and she booked an ice cream van. And she's, by coincidence, she's just turned up at her work. Thank you, Nicola. Go back to work and do some actual work. That nonsense. Review the ice cream, by the way, Nicola. Make sure it's good, because obviously they've got a lot to do. But anyway, no, you're right. I just fucking hell. What the people just distract you with inane nonsense in the comments. But ice cream for everyone. Yeah, same. Yeah, I really as well. On to Belgium, Italy. It depends. I think KDB apparently is meant to be all right. Oh no, you missed training this morning. Yeah, he was sat browsing my Twitter this morning. KDB, fucking, I'm loving that. I need to. If anyone's not know, by the way, when you know someone's retweeted via your account because you're tagged into it. He's retweeted something that I retweeted, and I'm tagged in with Ian Wright. So that means KDB has been browsing my tweets. Wow. I was like, what the fuck? Woke up. So he sat there not trading this morning, just scrolling through my tweets. And I thought, how many has he gone back? Like 7 back. And I thought, have I said anything negative? I don't think I have. But either way, apparently, either way, basically, KDB, I think he's been rested this morning. Hazard is struggling a little bit. They're obviously match winners for those two, aren't they? That's a massive blow. Italy, have you been as impressed with Italy as everyone else has been? The fantastic side of Mancini.
Yeah, I love the freedom they play with and the energy they play with. I don't think anyone plays like them. And I don't think I've seen a team play like that. You know, it's kind of sort of, it's narrow. Then with these fullbacks, it's just kind of really bomb on. The Spinazzola looks just ginormous out there on the left, and he's right-footed, but he's going down the left. It's they're really lovely to watch. That said, Austria will feel really unlucky not going through that game. I watched that one, and Austria were kind of good, and they kind of took the sting out of the game quite often. Yeah. And I wonder if that might be what Belgium look to do in this one, where they try and just. Although in the last game they didn't have as much possession as they normally do, I could see them just trying to keep the ball quite a lot and take the sting out of Italy that way. And it's Italy kind of trying to get it going and then slow down. I just think Italy. I just think if those two players I'm playing, from last thing I read, it was saying that Martinez said that they can't play in this game, but they would be they might be available for the one after. So if that is correct,
it's a big blow, isn't it?
I just think it's huge. Yeah, I think I don't know how you because you can have as many riches as you want, but if when it's key players, even if you've got good players behind them, when it's key guys, it can rip the soul out of a team a little bit, and I do wonder if they'll have enough without those two players, in particular De Bruyne, because I think he's the best player in Europe, isn't he? To be honest.
I would say so personally.
You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
You're talking to the right audience here as well, so definitely. Who do you think's getting to the final from that side of the draw then? What you got? Is Italy your bet, or Spain maybe? Or Belgium? I don't know.
So I think I would have Italy and Spain in the semi-final. I've got a funny feeling it will be Spain, and then it's going to be a really weird final, because if we can make the final, then we will be like, we're going to have to go conservative. They're going to have all the ball. It's going to be absolutely treacherous and horrible to watch. Yeah, it's going to be horrible. That's what I would guess at. I think that might be the case, because I think Spain do score goals.
They're warming up a little bit. They're starting to score goals as well.
They're starting to go through the gears, aren't they? Yeah,
a few City players in there as well from my channel's perspective. Ferran Torres, Laporte, obviously Garcia's left now, but there's Rodri as well there. So there's a whole bunch of City players linked to then potentially guys think it's gonna probably name very close to Man City 11 from those two teams if we get there. Which would be very, 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 very interesting. It's so I mean, if England get to the final, this country's going to actually explode. It'll have to be a national holiday, I reckon, to kind of maintain a semblance of normality. A couple of super chats before we end this. Jerry's just going, England hype train is coming home. Chew fucking chew. I love it, Jerry. I love it. And Scott just saying Xhaka is out for the next round, I believe, due to yellows. I didn't know that. Is that true? That's a massive blow. So. Because he's been really good. He's really good in this kind of tournament. By the way, Nicola said the ice cream was 10 out of 10, so there we go. So it's great news. James, I would recommend everyone go and watch James' video, by the way, especially the 2-minute one, which is just pure emotion. I'm surprised you can actually talk. You can actually talk.
My voice is still struggling now.
Worth it though, absolutely worth it. One of those days that everyone will remember, like well, James will remember at very least. One of those days that you have to enjoy as a football fan, really. And what I would say is, and this is to myself as well, is I'm going to try and part the cynicism and just try and enjoy this for what it is, because I think we all need it. I think we genuinely all need it right now, and it's nice to sat in my flat in Manchester and hearing all the cheers coming from the different balconies and all that kind of stuff. And like I had the urge just to run to the look out and see anyone else on the balcony. And that kind of stuff's sweet, because we don't really get those moments of unity very often as a country, and especially given how difficult a year it's been. And I think when you get that willingness for us all to feel connected, we all have to kind of grab onto it and latch onto it and essentially just enjoy it. And as everyone keeps saying, maybe football's coming home. I'm not can't go there. By the way, a lot of fans, I need to clarify this, a lot of fans from overseas countries thinks that's like an arrogant song. I don't think they realise it's actually, I'm not sure how you've interpreted it, James, but I've always thought it was self-deprecating, that song, a little bit like, it's a bit like, we're a bit shit, but maybe it will do. I've always, because it's Badil and Skinner, they were like sarcastic comedians who took the piss out of everything, and I always felt it was like a self-deprecating song and not actually like arrogant, more like, it's hopeful.
Yeah,
have you interpreted it that way?
Yeah, of course. It's ignorant hope. That's the point of it.
Yes.
If you listen to the lyrics of the song,
that's England.
The point of it is that we fail, but this time it might be different, and that's a universal.
Fandom,
that's football fandom, exactly. So yeah, it's not arrogant, and when people say it, it's like, it's just saying, come on, believe in it. Like that's because we've got it wrong so many times. People were struggling to believe in it, and that's the thing that I'm always trying to push with. That's why I jump on this bandwagon, and I would say this to you as well: is jump on the bandwagon, because as you know, in your normal league season, it's there's this sort of angry rivalry that's kind of always going on, like bubbling under the surface. Everyone gets to put their weapons down with this, because everyone's kind of on the same.
An amnesty across the league.
Yeah. And it's for a couple of weeks, and it will go away, and so you might as well enjoy it whilst you can. So I would. That's what I love about international football, is that that national pride is available if you want to get involved with it. So I would say to anyone, let's enjoy this bit whilst we can, because sooner or later, as much as you're you want to win, you're always more likely to lose things, right? That's how this all works, right? So when it is going well, and you're still in it, you might as well enjoy it. So fingers crossed it is.
Well, there we go. He's on this video apparently. So I'm there. You can shave your beard. You can be a budget Frank Skinner, and we can do a version together. On that note, anyway, mate, you're right. I think we should do. We genuinely should get behind it, and that goes to, obviously there's lots of people who won't, because they're not English. I understand that, but enjoy the Euros, because I've enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, for what it's worth. I've really enjoyed it so far. It's been class. The games have been really good fun as well. Drama pretty much every knockout game so far. Guys, thank you for watching. James, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been absolutely wonderful. I would genuinely, hand on heart, recommend go watch James's videos. There'll be a link in the description. James Lawrence Allcott. His reaction at full time is fantastic, and of course his longer 25-minute breakdown is wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, mate. Really
my pleasure, man.
Guys, it's possibly coming out. Mate, is it coming out? I can't decide. You decide. Let me know in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Go and give James' channel a subscribe as well if you haven't already. You should do. It's the kind of football content that I think we should all genuinely get behind. It's reasonable. It's fun. And there's like a no kind of dickhead attitude over on that channel, which I really like. And I'm just saying that. But I think there's a bunch of creators who don't do histrionics, and they just seem to enjoy football, and you're one of them. So James is one of the guys. Go check it out over there. Guys, see you later. Enjoy the games. When's the next games now? When are they? I don't know when
Friday. Friday's the Italy game, I think, and then it's Saturday 8 p.m. Guys, we've got Ukraine.
Saturday. Sounded like an advert then. Saturday 8 p.m. See you there. In a bit, guys. See you later. Bye bye.